DevOps। इसके बाद हम पाइथन पढ़ने वाले हैं, उसके बाद लिनक्स शेल स्क्रिप्टिंग। हम ये सब क्यों पढ़ना है? दैट इज व्हाट टुडे सेशन इज ऑल अबाउट, राइट? व्हाट इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ ईच ऑफ दिस components, how these things play a significant role in DevOps engineer's life as a in the journey as a DevOps engineer. Okay, so not sure if you got a chance to be part of the webinar that we recently had, but यही है जो discuss किए थे broadly. In case you have not seen that, today we'll be covering it again. कि क्या है DevOps? Right? What exactly is DevOps? Right? कि क्या चलता है? Because there is so much of buzz around that. हम इंडस्ट्री में मार्केट में सुनते रहते हैं कि DevOps सीखो, DevOps सीखो, DevOps सीखो। Why we should learn? सीखना क्यों है? And what exactly we are going to get into, right? So basically DevOps एक ऐसा वर्ड है जो ये दो वर्ड जुड़ के बनाया गया है, डेवलप, डेव एंड ऑप्स। ऐसे वर्ड्स को पोर्टमोंटो बोलते हैं। पार्ट ऑफ वन वर्ड एंड पार्ट ऑफ अदर वर्ड जॉइन टुगेदर जो बनता है। Dev comes from development, ops comes from operations. Now, before I get in, can I have a brief round of all your introduction, experience level? What's your expectation from this program so that I can keep that in mind?
सेटिंग चेंज करायची आणि 20 होतात
Hello.
आणि स्टाईल मध्ये जाऊन ऑरेंज करायचं, ओके करायचं. सो हे ऍड केलं तर ह्याला आपल्याला सेव्ह करावं लागतं. तिथे शेजारी जायचं, इंडिकेट करायचं, सेव्ह इंडिकेट करायचं, नाव द्या, रिमूव्ह येतं, सेव्ह. The next time
you can mute yourself if you're not talking to the class. Yeah, who wants to start? Nobody wants to talk. Okay. You a professional want to switch to DevOps. Okay, good. Others also, if you don't want to talk, you can just drop a message. So how many years of experience, Brad? Okay. I believe कि बाकी लोग भी ऐसा ही somewhat similar things, right? So anybody who is absolute fresher, that's fine, doesn't matter. It's been paced so that, I mean, something new that we are learning. It doesn't matter whether you are experienced fresher. You just need to have the mindset. And so just keep your mind open and pay attention. Do not rely too much on recordings. Focus on the live classes and interact through one of the means given to you. Chat, unmute yourself and talk. Okay. Okay. Now, why I was asking is because to understand DevOps, right? So हमें ये थोड़ा बहुत already पता रहना चाहिए कि how the software development happens in the industry, क्या-क्या process क्या-क्या methodologies हैं, क्या processes follow करते हैं, etc. etc. So that we can understand DevOps fit कहाँ होता है into the scheme of the things. Okay. So primarily its objective. Its objective is to bring people, processes, and technology together to provide value to the customers. Okay. So that is the objective of DevOps. Bring processes, people, and technology together. Okay. People, process, technology. Why they should come together? ताकि हम customers को value provide कर सकें. Okay. So customers को value कैसे provide करते हैं? Through faster delivery, better quality, better efficiency, and better security. Okay. Now, in the industry, being in the industry, you all must have seen customers want जैसे requirement देते हैं, they want to see the project working, right? क्योंकि उनको business pressures है. Why they are getting that software built by you or that project being getting done by you, so that they can start generating revenue by using that. Right? उनका बस चले तो कल ही it should be up and live in production, but that's not the way things happen. Right? They want it faster, and faster का मतलब ये नहीं है कि हाँ कुछ भी दे दो. They want best quality also, and they want it within the budget. Obviously, a contract बिल्ड किया रहेगा कि इतने में करके देने वाले हैं प्रोजेक्ट या इतना लगेगा सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोडक्ट खरीदने के लिए एक्सेट्रा. So you have to stick to the contract. Only then the customer will be satisfied. So ultimate goal is overall customer satisfaction. Now, development के लिए we already have adopted something called as agile methodologies. Right? So earlier we had waterfall model, which we were using for SDLC, software development lifecycle के लिए. We were using waterfall model, जिसमें वो stages रहते हैं. पहला stage requirement gathering, second stage design में high level design, low level design. उसके बाद आता है development. Then development के बाद QC, quality control या testing बोलते हैं. उसके बाद जाके maintenance में जाता है. उसके साथ issue ये है कि the stages are very frigid. Right? Unless you complete requirement gathering, you cannot start with design. Unless you freeze requirement gathering, you cannot start with design. Unless design freeze nahi hota hai by preparing high level design documents, low level design documents, all this development start nahi kar sakte. Obviously, unless development complete nahi hota hai, we cannot test it. So every stage is dependent on others, and usually stages बहुत लंबा चलते हैं to महीनों तक. So from the requirement stage till the time the product is out in the market, लगभग 1 साल या 1.5 साल बीत चुका रहता है. Okay. So usually waterfall में they have long life cycles, and at the end of the customer is going to see the product and he realizes कि अरे मैंने requirement कुछ अलग दिया है और product कुछ अलग निकला है. It's too late, right? बहुत देर हो गया होगा तब तक. Please stop doing that. Let me control this. So इसकी वजह से we moved to we started looking at alternatives. Then we adapted, we tried so many things, rapid application deployment methodology, then spiral model, V model, incremental model, etc. सब try करके सब में से कुछ positives लेके we finally ended up with agile methodology. Now हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि this is the best, but yeah, that works, right? So it using agile methodology, we are able to see decent results, so that's why people stuck with it, and वो अभी भी market में चल रहा है. Now, if you see in a way, agile बहुत ज़्यादा misuse भी होता है industry में. So agile का नाम पे people do not want to prepare documentation. Agile का नाम पे कभी भी requirement change करने का कोशिश करते हैं. तो थोड़ा बहुत misuse भी होता है, but that's okay, right? So customer is benefiting, the companies are benefiting. वैसे डेवलपर्स पे तो प्रेशर तो हमेशा रहता ही है, डेवलपर्स पे और DevOps engineers पे, whether it's agile or waterfall, so it doesn't matter, right? As long as uh, customer is benefiting, companies are benefiting, our jobs will be safe. Okay, so that is agile. अभी development के लिए we have adopted agile. Anybody who doesn't know what is agile at all, you can raise hand or you can send a message. What do you mean by agile? What are agile principles? Agile में project कैसे execute होता है? Requirements कैसे gather करते हैं? Anybody? Do not hesitate to ask. Do not hesitate to get your doubts clarified. If you know, well and good. Okay. So basically, in Agile, we have changed the way we do things. Okay. So basically, they came up with 4 values and 12 principles. They created a process called as they created a set of principles called as Agile Manifesto, which consists of 4 values and 12 principles. Now, if you see these values and principles, right, it will be gist of what happens in Agile, right? So. Customer satisfaction through early and continuous software delivery, right? Early software delivery, matlab as soon as possible, we have to show something to the customer and continuously कुछ ना कुछ deliver करते रहे. which means our work should happen in small cycles, one after the other, small cycles, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, so that as soon as first cycle of work gets completed, हम कस्टमर को कुछ दिखाएंगे, उसके बाद कंटिन्यूअसली एवरी साइकिल जैसे कंटिन्यू कंप्लीट करते रहते हैं, वी कीप शोइंग इंक्रीमेंटल वैल्यू टू द कस्टमर, so that is going to give satisfaction to the customer, to ensure that yes, we are on right track. At any point customer को अगर लगता है कि नहीं, अगर ट्रैक राइट ट्रैक पे नहीं जा रहे हैं, he can correct it by giving feedback, right? Early customer feedback is the key. So that's how customer satisfaction through early and continuous software delivery. Accommodate changing requirements throughout the development process, right? So पहले waterfall में क्या होता था? Waterfall में we used to say you cannot keep I mean, once the requirements are frozen, we cannot change the requirements. Even if the customer asks, okay, we forgot this, can you please include it? So we'll say no, because we have already done the planning, design and everything. If you change the requirements at this point of time, it is going to have an impact on the overall release or the budget, कुछ तो reason देते थे. But in Agile, we accommodate changing requirements at any point of the development life cycle. Last minute पे भी आके हम बोल सकते हैं कि अरे हमें ये चाहिए. Of course, उसका थोड़ा impact रहेगा. Then we have to discuss, see what is its impact. Is it going to delay the existing things? Is it going to increase the budget? ये सब देख के एक decision लेने वाले हैं. But we are open. That's the main thing. We are open to accommodate changing requirements throughout the development process. We as in the company जो Agile methodology follow करता है. Frequent delivery of working software related to the first point. Frequently हम कुछ ना कुछ working software दिखाते रहते हैं. Frequently as in not every day. We decide a time. जैसे मैं cycles बोला था. So we decide cycle में cycle after cycle. After every cycle of development, we show some working software. Right? See the advantage? So every frequently at every frequent intervals, you will keep seeing something working. Of course, there's a lot of planning, prioritization, all that hard work has to go into that, but that anyway happens, right? We are all, so that's the advantage, right? Frequent delivery of working software. Collaboration between business stakeholders and developers throughout the project, right? Who are the business stakeholders? Business stakeholders मतलब the customer or customer's representative, जिसको business पता है, business need. जैसे हम बैंकिंग का प्रोजेक्ट पे काम कर रहे हैं, तो someone from the banking industry, right, who understands banking terminology, how things happen in the bank, and okay, and the developers, that is the technical guys, right? Because they don't know technology, we don't know domain, so continuously we need to collaborate with each other, okay? Which happens in Agile, as we are going to see it. Support, trust, and motivate the people involved. Now, value the developers, give them responsibility, trust them to get it done, okay? Do not do micromanagement ki अरे क्या चल रहा है, every minute we don't have to go and ask. So that's why Agile is also kind of mindset change. It's not just implementing tools or processes, bringing in processes, it's a mindset change also. Everyone involved has to develop this mindset. Enable face-to-face interactions. Okay, so every day we meet, right? We have meetings. So that's why enable face-to-face interactions. Now, this different sites may give in these in different formats, but सबका gist same होने वाला है. Okay. Working software is the primary measure of progress. So if the team says, yeah, we have the project manager asks, okay, how is it going? the team will say, yeah, we are progressing. What is the measure of progress? Not the number of lines of code that you're adding, not the bugs that you have logged, not the bugs that have been resolved. Working software with incremental time. Okay. Agile process to support consistent development pace. Continuously, we have to keep delivering something. Attention to technical design. इसमें कुछ अलग दिया है. Attention to technical details and design. Enhance agility, simplicity, self-organizing teams. Regular reflections on how to become effective. मतलब after we complete the work, we reflect. We look back and see क्या सही गया है, क्या गलत गया है. सही जो हुआ है उसको कैसे कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं, आगे लेके जा सकते हैं. जो जो गलत चीजें हुए हैं उसको कैसे इम्प्रोवाइज कर सकते हैं. So that is reflection. So these are some principles which drive this thing. Now, in view of those principles, see these values. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Okay. So do not give so much of stress and focus on processes and tools. Rather, focus on individuals and interactions. Right? That's what we do, right? Face-to-face interactions, giving freedom to the developers, trusting them to get the work done. Right? All that is this. Working software over comprehensive documentation. Right? This also we saw in the 12 principles. Working software. As early as possible, we should get some working software out. Over comprehensive documentation. So earlier, unlike in Waterfall, there is no elaborate requirement document which gets prepared. There is no elaborate design document. There's no elaborate user guide, etc., etc. Rather, we focus on getting the working software out fast. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. This is related to the point where we said, in fact, all these 4 are related to those 12 points that we discussed, but specifically a point is for the point where we said we are ready to accept the change in the requirements at any point in the life cycle, at any point in the process, right? Earlier, क्या होता था? We say once a contract is signed, we say, oh, we already agreed on the contract and signed it. We cannot accept this change at this point of time. So over the contract negotiation, we give preference to customer collaboration by accommodating his changes requests. Responding to change over following a plan. Instead of draw up a rigid plan and blindly stick to it, because we are going to continuously show working software to the customer, then जब वो working software को देखते हैं, उनको new ideas आने लगते हैं और feedback देते रहते हैं कि is it fine, is any changes to be done, because of which there could be some changes, right? So we have to quickly adapt to the change and not follow the plan blindly. Why we are doing all this? Ultimately for customer satisfaction. Okay. So what happens in Agile is we execute projects using something called as Scrum. So we create Scrum teams, which consists of Scrum Master, product owner, and a dev. Scrum team consists of a Scrum Master, a product owner, and a dev. He is responsible for smooth operation without any impediments. Okay, no blockages. This guy is responsible for product backlog. Right? Product backlog means complete list of requirements. Now, in Agile methodology, we don't have those big requirements because we are talking about short life cycles, then getting something to working quickly. So we break down those big requirements into user stories and come up with use cases. Matlab, let's say there is a product. Instead of looking at the product from computer perspective or a software perspective, look at the product from the end user perspective, how the end user is going to use it. क्या roles हैं? Is there an admin user? Is there a end user, regular user? Oh, how will their interaction be? कैसे interact करने वाले हैं product के साथ? Okay. So that tells us the user story from different personas, different user personas. Then we come up with use cases. What are the different use cases that we can think of to implement this functionality? So complete list of use cases is nothing but your product backlog. Who is responsible? Product owner. This guy is from our point of view, he is the customer. Right? So we have to please him. We have to make him satisfied. We have to give him that value. Dev team. Right? So this consists of dev plus QA plus architect, whatever is required, whoever is required for solving the problem. Right? Once this happens, they come up with sprints. Sprints are those cycles that I said. Okay? Cycle after cycle, cycle after cycle, sprint after sprint, sprint after sprint. So you decide, okay, this is the work we have. We are going to normally, if you see athletics, there's a difference between running and sprinting. Right? Sprinting is almost like hopping from one place to the other. So ऐसे होता है. We decide a sprint, then within that sprint we try to achieve जितना हो सकता है. So usually sprints will have sprints means short duration cycles, short duration programs. Typically, sprints can vary anywhere between 1 to 4 weeks. Right? Between 1 to 4 weeks. But 1 week is too less, 4 weeks is too long. So usually people go with 2 week sprints. Which means within 2 weeks, क्या complete कर सकते हैं? कितना complete कर सकते हैं? Okay. So we first decide what is going to be our sprint duration. Then on final day, we start the sprint. We do sprint planning. Right? Sprint planning में क्या होता है? ये product backlog जो है, इसमें से कुछ items product owner से prioritize करवाते हैं जो at most important है. And वो ऐसा भी रहना चाहिए कि when we complete, we take a subset of this product backlog and pull it into sprint and come up with sprint backlog. Right? Sprint backlog is a subset of product backlog. Right? So how do you create sprint backlog? Outcome should be working software. However small it might be, even if it is like a login page जो चल रहा है, but चलना चाहिए. Even if it's with some assumptions, well and good, but it should be working. Okay. So sprint backlog is a subset of product backlog. And it is built such a way that when we complete those use cases which we pulled from the product backlog into sprint backlog, we end up with a working software. Once we decide the sprint backlog, then we start the work. Okay, sprint starts. Right? And one of the values is like every day there should be collaboration. So daily Scrum meetings will be there. So as part of this sprint cycles, there will be a daily Scrum meeting where the entire Scrum team meets. Right? They are called as daily stand-ups. Right? Usually they are called as stand-ups because right, pre-COVID era, when we all used to go to office, we all get into one room for the daily stand-up. So there, even if chairs are there, you're not supposed to sit, right? Because the purpose of this meeting is not to say chit chat and then discuss this and that and then delay the things, right? Come, quickly give the updates and take the required inputs, go to get the work done. Okay. So the kind of updates that we give in Scrum is, what did I do yesterday? What am I planning to do today? Are there any impediments? Which means, am I blocked because of something? This is the only update everyone is supposed to give. But usually ऐसा नहीं होता है. People start discussing technical things there. They start discussing the architectural things there. So ideally Scrum meeting में ये होना चाहिए daily stand-up में. कल मैंने इस पे काम किया. आज और what is the status of that? आज किस पे काम करने वाला हूँ? And is there anything that I require? Any dependency? Okay, so that's all. Then they go back to get the work done. If there are any dependencies, any impediments, Scrum Master jumps into action. His sole purpose of existence is to ensure that the Scrum team continuously keeps moving forward. You know, आगे बढ़ते रहें. Okay, then at the end of 2 weeks, we end up with sprint build, right? जो भी है, the small build that works. Okay, so that's all. Then once that is done, then we take one day or so, then do the sprint planning again and get into second sprint. So second sprint में क्या होता है? First sprint का first, now it depends like where QA comes into picture. In some companies, ये 2 weeks time में ही QA comes into picture and does the testing. In some other model, QA will come into picture in the second sprint. So first sprint में जो उसका output product आता है, QA team will take that and then they start testing. When they start, so their work starts one sprint late. So when they are doing the testing in second round, second sprint, development starts working in the second sprint. Second sprint output of the development comes to QA team in the third sprint. So this way, one sprint late चल सकता है. Or within the sprint itself, like let's say we have 10 days, 7 days for development, 3 days for testing, or 6 days, 4 days, 5 days, 5 days, depending on how crucial is the testing. So that way, testing also gets completed. Now, if testing gets completed, obviously there's going to be defects. So sprint 2 will consist of sprint 1 new features plus sprint 1 bug fixes. Sorry, sprint 2 new features.
Could you please check the chart?
Yeah, we have a lot of time. Don't worry. We'll be focusing a lot on DevOps. How learning DevOps can help systems accuracy. Okay, let me quickly finish. Okay, so this way we finish, and yeah, at every sprint we have sprint review and retrospection meetings. How learning DevOps can help a system administrator. Now, well, your responsibilities will change. You can start taking additional responsibilities, right? Instead of just being a system administrator, you can become a DevOps lead architect roles. Now, telecom engineer, it depends whether you want to continue in the telecom itself. See, DevOps is a process. In fact, it can be applied to manufacturing industry also. In fact, that's how it was born, right? They saw the processes that happen in the DevOps in the manufacturing industry, how they improvise the processes, and they tried applying the same processes to software, succeeded. So DevOps is required in every field. So after learning DevOps, if you want to continue on your field, then you can see, okay, what is going wrong, how we can improvise the processes, how we can bring in automation, because DevOps focuses on automation, automation, automation. Okay. So if you want to continue in telecom, you can enhance your the way you work. You can change the way you work, or you can transition into software industry as a DevOps engineer. Okay. So DevOps can be thought of as extension of Agile. Agile lives at the development. Then whatever uh, values, whatever learnings we have from DevOps, from Agile, we extend it to DevOps. So that's how we bring in this efficiency into this entire process of operations also, right? So development में जो improvements ये हैं, we take its value into the operation side of the things. Operations मतलब deployment, development के बाद जो होता है. So who all are involved? Developers are involved and operations team, the IT teams, who are responsible for setting up environments, deploying the products, applications, projects, ensuring that the servers are up and running, ensuring that customers are not facing any issues. Okay. So developers will have certain responsibilities, that is to deliver the products faster. Operations team का अपना targets है to ensure the stability. So because of this, there is a confusion between these two teams, right? So we call it as wall of confusion. So both teams are working independently without collaborating with each other. So they have different goals, that is speed. They want to solve the customer problems, keep innovating on new products, frequent deliveries करते रहना है, and they have to keep rolling out the changes fast. But operations teams has their own priorities to ensure that stability. How to maximize the uptime, which means to deploy frequent software. Every time we say, okay, we want to bring down the server, it won't help, right? The customers will be impacted. and they want to minimize failures, minimize compliance obligations, because of, in an effort to push things faster, we should not be breaking any compliance regulatory compliances, and security should be maintained. So these are uh, operations team concerns: security, stability. So that's called as wall of confusion. Now, how can we break this? Right? So to break this wall of confusion, we need changes from 3 points of view. One is culture. Right? That's why if you see in many websites or forums, if you say, what is DevOps? So they keep saying DevOps is a culture, DevOps is a mindset, DevOps is this, DevOps is that. So if you say DevOps, is it a set of tools or is it a technology? No, it's not a technology. It is a set. There are set of tools involved, but it is more about the changing the mindset, bringing in the change in the culture. Okay, so organizations have to adapt to this culture to reap the benefits of DevOps. They have to enable people, motivate them, and trust them to get the job done. Right? This was also one of the Agile principles. Okay? So the cultural change should be there. Then comes the technology. So once you have the cultural, what will the cultural change do here? Yeah, we want to do the things faster, but now the cultural change will enable the developers to appreciate the stability. Right? They won't be blindly focused on, no, I don't care what happens. I'll worry only about speed. Right? So bring these two teams together. Explain why these guys focus on this. What is the impact of not maintaining the uptime, not minimizing the failure? At the same time, let the operations team get a taste of what goes on, what are the challenges these guys are facing. Then the empathy will come towards each other. Developers will understand the challenges which are there on the operations side. Operations teams will understand the challenges which are there on the development side. Then they will be willing to collaborate with each other rather than trying to um, be rigid. Okay. Now, once they understand each other and then they say, yeah, they are ready to collaborate, you need tools to support this. Okay. The tools will try to automate this entire process to make it smooth. At every step, if you want to do something, that should be automated. So that there is no scope for errors and efficiency can be brought in. And processes, right? So bring in certain process backed up by the tools, which further is backed up by the cultural change. So in essence, what we have to do is bring both these together, break the silos, break the barriers between both the teams, bring them together, bring people and teams together with a single objective of value to the customer in the mind. Now, both the teams have to get this thing in their mind, saying, yes, it is ultimately we are working towards this goal. Now, the goal for both the teams becomes the same. Okay. Now, to do this, if you have to realign the processes, you make it. And if there are any tools which are required, adopt them and start using them. Okay. That's how we end up with this. And once this wall is broken, both teams seamlessly start collaborating with each other, and we end up with this infinity kind of symbol. Right? So if you see the symbol, it is the continuity that strikes in this. Right? Planning phase leads into coding phase, which leads into building phase, which leads into testing phase, which leads into release, which in turn leads into deployment, which leads to operation, monitor. As a result of monitoring, either new requirements or any issues that are coming up will be fed back into the planning stage, and the next cycle begins. Right? This goes on and on and on and on. Right? For all this to go on and on and on, we need to have these tools. At the planning stage, we need to have things like Jira, right, which will help us to efficiently manage the product backlog or project management. Okay. So then at the coding stage, हमें version control adopt करना चाहिए, tools like Git, so that we can collaborate better. We have a backup, our code is getting backed up in a repository, and once it is there in central repository, anybody who wants to work on the project from a remote location, from home, they'll have access to the code. Okay. Then comes the development team. Development, you focus on what tools will help you to solve your problem, right? Better like frameworks. You make use of IDs, which anyway you do now also. Then comes testing. Now, testing is one of the crucial pieces for success of DevOps. Testing should be automated, right? So when we think of DevOps, when we think of what strikes to our mind is CI/CD. Everyone talks about CI/CD, right? Continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment. But for the successful implementation of CI/CD, CT is the most important, continuous testing. For continuous testing, automation is the key. To whatever a possible extent, you must automate. First, unit tests have to be written, then UI tests have to be automated using Selenium, etc. And then even acceptance test cases should be automated using BDD frameworks. Right? So that's a key piece. And why I say key piece is because release should be smooth. If this step is manual or acceptance testing is involved at this stage, then obviously this release is going to be delayed. And so if you manage to automate everything, then as soon as the testing is complete, automatically the build is ready to be released. Okay. So planning, coding, building, testing leads us to releasing. Build release hua. So what to do after that? We need to deploy it. Deploy करने के लिए we need to have the environment. Right? Now, because we started adopting certain new things, new way of doing things, we use concepts like infrastructure as code. We write scripts to provision infrastructure, to create VMs, to get the environment ready, to configure it and keep it ready for deployment. जो भी prerequisite software है वो सब automatically install करके ready रखते हैं server with the help of operations team, of course. So उसकी वजह से as soon as developers finish this process, the server is ready and it is ready to be deployed. Then once it's deployed, in deployment, you have different options. Either you have one big server and go with the traditional deployment, or if your application is made up of is built as per the microservices architecture, we make use of containerization. Right? We containerize our services and deploy it onto Kubernetes clusters. Right? Then वहां से once it is running either in a server or in the Kubernetes cluster, we have to monitor it. Right? That's why we call it as continuous monitoring. Right? We have to keep monitoring the application that it is running fine. And if any issues are there, immediately that should be notified to the developers. They need to immediately fix it. And this cycle continues. If यहाँ से अगर feedback आता है, then they will work on that feedback. If not, if everything is fine, working smooth, they start working on next sprint. Okay. So that way, So that is the crux of DevOps. Any questions so far?
Hello.
Working as a technical trainer, so if I
Hello.
switch to DevOps, I should be considered as a fresher.
Hello,
It
Raj.
depends on, yeah, hi.
Who will do the DevOps job?
DevOps engineers.
What are the key responsibilities? Is it a
Key
technical
response,
or non-technical job?
it is technical. So that's what is the rest of the slides. What is how your journey is going to be, DevOps engineer's journey.
I am a network engineer. How it will this course useful for me?
See, network engineers, nowadays there is a lot of focus on automating your network configuration management,
Yes.
right? Now, so you are expected to bring in tools like your Ansible playbooks, write Python scripts to automate your configuration steps. Now, when automation is coming into picture, there's a concept called as net DevOps, network DevOps, right? So, as I said, DevOps principles will be required whether you're in networking, whether you're in telecom, whether you're in manufacturing. The focus is how we can improvise things, how we can automate things, how we can reduce time, how we can empower people. We'll create certain frameworks, certain tools, which will be used by the developers.
Is it requires coding skills to do DevOps
Little
job?
bit of coding skills are required.
Coding
Not,
skills.
yeah, little bit. Because if let's say the tools जहाँ पे जो हैं, if they are not sufficient, if there is some custom task that we need to do, then we should be able to write a script by ourselves and then do it. So that's the reason we learned Python, which is a very somewhat easy to learn programming language, and we learned shell scripting or Linux fundamentals and shell scripting, because we extensively work with Linux machines in DevOps.
Can freshers do this job?
See, freshers will be given the responsibility accordingly, right? Obviously, because freshers will have limited knowledge of what happens in the industry. So, see, can freshers do development? Can freshers do testing? Can freshers do network engineer's job? When freshers can do all other job, they should be able to do this job also, right? Because it doesn't mean that, yeah, as soon as you become a DevOps engineer, you will be given a huge responsibility. It depends on your experience level also, right? If you have experience level, you have a very good understanding of the software industry, then you will be given okay, you automate this piece, you write this script, you maintain, you ensure that this or you take care of monitoring. You install research on the monitoring tools, see which tools can be installed, and then how to do continuous monitoring. Freshers will be given the jobs accordingly. Okay, you write this simple shell script, automate this process, and so on.
Okay. Is it like a project management software? DevOps is a project management software.
No. DevOps is not project management.
If a network engineer wants to develop switch to DevOps engineer job, so you have to learn so many things right from the scratch, or completely different domain, or how it will be.
If you have a little bit of coding, see, as a network engineer, you work with network CLI, command line utilities.
Yes.
Right? Now, the same thing you try to imagine. So there you give network commands to configure network devices. So you will have to learn giving Linux commands to interact with servers, normal servers, regular servers. So if you think from that point of view, you will be able to do it. And then, like let's say scripting is not something that you do in network configuration, but if you learn writing code, which is not a very, I mean, you're not expected to write very complex programs. The programming or the scripting that we learn is for solving our day-to-day tasks, simplifying our day-to-day job.
Okay. How long the course duration will be?
It's around 90 hours.
Monday to Friday at 9 o'clock.
No, weekly 3 days. As of now, but depending on, we'll see the things how they're going, and we might alter the schedule. So these are broadly the topics.
Hi, Raja Parag here. So I have one question regarding testing. As we mentioned, there is a continuous testing, right, in DevOps. So continuous testing means it is like automation only we need to learn. Like as you mentioned right now, we need to learn the Python, right? So with Python, Selenium will be the combination for this, or how it will be?
See, here you are not trying to become automation tester. You're trying to become a DevOps engineer. So you
Correct.
should stress on automation testing. You should ask the automation testing team to automate things.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, the technology will be used it depends on the product, whether it is Java with Selenium or Python with Selenium, depends on the framework that is there and the project type of project. But as a DevOps engineer, you're not expected to take care of automation testing. You have to explain the significance. Agar pieces automate karte hain, so then it will be more efficient.
Okay, so that will be responsible of automation team, right?
Yes,
Uh,
QA teams.
okay, so that's the confusion actually I have. And one more thing, like in DevOps, like I hear about there is support role as well, right? For in DevOps, support role and so many roles are there. So now currently I'm working as a QA. So for me, which one is suitable, more suitable? Like as a curriculum, I need to learn everything, but as you have the experience, then you can explain it better.
See, in DevOps, DevOps is like it's like another project, right? So there will be all roles. Like DevOps is about automating things, writing scripts, establishing processes. Like you have to automate server provisioning, which means if someone writes a script, a junior will be asked to test it. So that way, it's a ongoing journey for the organization to automate this entire process. So in that, yes, there are support roles, there are developer roles, there are testing roles, etc. But ultimately, the DevOps engineer, see, you will become a DevOps engineer only. So which means you will be given one of these tasks. Now, if I say you will become a DevOps engineer, it doesn't mean that every day you'll be doing all these things, right? It depends on the company's needs also. Suppose their weak area is IAC, right? Right now, creating servers is manual process. They want to automate that process. So they'll focus more. So they'll expect DevOps engineers to learn these tools like Pulumi, Terraform, and then automate server provisioning. Suppose there is another organization. जहाँ पे the server provisioning is already taken care. Terraform scripts are there, but they are missing on containerization. So they'll expect you to learn Docker and then implement containerization. Right? Help the development teams with to containerize their applications and plan how to deploy your containers. So depends on um, the kind of project, the kind of requirement that is there for the company.
Okay, but as a DevOps, you should know everything, right? Means
Yes.
process you should know,
Yes. Yes.
tools you should know.
And
Okay,
little familiarity with all the areas.
okay. So now, see,
Because
why I'm asking this question, no? Because see, now I have the experience of QA. Okay, 10 plus years of experience as a QA. And most probably I did manual testing only. Okay. So when I learn all these skills, okay, and when I'm going to face the interviews or industry, then what they will expect? Because they will consider me as a fresher only, right? In
not
this regard.
necessary,
Huh.
not necessary. You're coming with the industry experience, right?
Yeah.
So 10 years of experience in the industry, and then you have upgraded your skills, which means if
Hmm.
you can prove to a company that yes, tomorrow you can take up the responsibility as a DevOps engineer and work as a part of a team.
Hmm.
You can create, let's say, a Docker Composer script to bring up an application. So then you will have your value.
Okay. So I need to showcase it, right? Like I have the now I have the knowledge, so I can do it
Yeah,
like that. Okay.
yeah,
So in that case, the instructor will be help us, right? Means to create the profile
yes,
or how to present it. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, but then what is that? See, DevOps is also, if you see the tools, there are so many tools. Nobody can learn all the tools. And for doing something, there are multiple tools. एक चीज करने के लिए there are very lot of tools. For example, building CI/CD pipelines. For building CI/CD pipelines, we have Jenkins, we have Travis, we have Circle CI, we have GitHub Actions, we have GitLab CI/CD, we have Azure DevOps pipelines. All these are there. Now, you can't expect someone to learn everything, correct? So that's why what we do, we teach one tool, which is open source or which is very widely used, let's say Jenkins. But the principles will be the same. The concept will be the same in all other tools. Then for engineers, it will be just a matter of uh, getting used to the new tool. And companies also understand this, right? If you say, yeah, I worked in Jenkins, but I didn't work in GitLab, they won't say then you're a fresher, right? They also know that there are so many tools because these are all open source tools. We keep working with open source tools, and there are so many open source. Every day, new tool is coming up. So this is a continuous journey for DevOps engineers. Keep learning tools, keep solving the problems. Ultimate goal is keep solving the problems.
Yes, got your point. So process will be remain same, tools can be
Yes,
different.
yes.
Because I did some research on this one. So what I found that every cloud is using some different tools, right? Means for example, AWS using
Yes,
some different tools, Azure using some
yes.
different tools. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So Azure uses Azure Resource Manager, ARM templates.
Mm-hmm.
AWS
Yeah.
uses AWS Cloud Formation. So,
Correct.
but if you see, the concept is same. What is the
Mm-hmm.
ultimate objective? To automate creation of VM.
Okay.
Okay? So
Yes.
if your one project expects you to do it in AWS, then you have to
Mm.
see, okay, how to do this in AWS. Then that project is over, you go to another project, there the customer is using Azure.
Mm.
So now you have to learn how to do this in Azure and do it.
Okay. Means
Luckily,
configuration can be changed, right? Only that
yes,
that will be changed.
yeah,
Process will be remain same. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, got your point. Thank you.
Okay, I believe we addressed all the questions.
Hello. Hello,
Yeah.
Raj. So,
Yes.
I just want to know what is the site reliability engineer? Who is the site reliability engineer?
Well, usually they have a dedicated responsibility of ensuring that the application is running, the production environment is always up and available. So it's like they make use of the the frameworks that the tools, the frameworks which were built, the process which has been established by the DevOps to ensure that continuously the site is applicable and the customer satisfaction is maintained. So they use some monitoring tools to ensure that uh, they set a threshold. They keep monitoring the servers. If the server usage is continuously beyond 75%, which means it is going on increasing CPU or the hard disk, which means it's going to crash at some point in time. So instead of waiting till the site crashes and then taking action, before itself, they start digging why it is happening and take the necessary corrective action. So that way they would have prevented the application from crashing, the server from crashing. So that is broadly the SRE space, site reliability engineer.
So it requires coding skill or non-technical
No,
cannot.
it does not require, but see, a little bit of scripting is helpful because when they are taking someone as a DevOps engineer or SRE engineer, these are all technical roles, right? So, but at the same time, you're not a developer. The companies also understand that. They don't expect you to be as good as programmers, but they expect you to have some basic scripting knowledge so that if tomorrow, if some small utility has to be created, some small script has to be created, they don't want you saying that, no, I'm not a developer, I don't know how to code, right? You don't have to write developer level of programs, but you should be able to build simple scripts.
Okay.
That's why you
thank you.
see any DevOps